Hello, Gemini. It's Joe. And I'm going to try and get through this. I have some sinus issues, so my apologies. This is March 2021. This is very similar to a spirit guided message that I do. But the intention of this reading is to ask for messages from your future self, your higher self. What does your future self want you to know right now? See, we live in a timeline here in the physical, but our spirit, our higher self, does not exist in a timeline. It's as if everything is happening at once, and everything that ever will happen has already happened. It's a different perspective. And so your future self wants you to know something very important in this message. And we're going to get down to embracing that message, Gemini, and seeing what it's all about. This may be one specific message. This may be more than one message that comes through. So Gemini, the first message I want to talk about is embracing change. Embracing change, taking the first step, taking the initiative. Your future self wants you to not be afraid to take a risk, to put yourself out there, even though, Gemini, you might feel like you're vulnerable. You might feel like you're in the spotlight, or people are wondering what you are doing. Your future self wants you to know that it's okay to embrace change, and it's also okay to be the initiator of that change. That we don't have to just wait around for things to just suddenly change in our life, okay? And so this is something that you have thought about for a long time, or you just have an intuitive sense about some change coming your way, but it's going to require you to take a step, a big leap of faith, Gemini. And so your future self is asking you to trust taking that leap of faith. There's peace and reassurance here in this leap of faith that is coming through for you. So Gemini, you have a change in the wind, and take your next step. These are the two cards that really talk about being an initiator. So whether change is initiated in your life, or you're taking the initiative to take some steps to change some things in your life, Gemini, your future self wants to encourage you and to know that everything that you do in this next step of your life, in this next big part of the journey, is it's okay to take a risk. It's okay for people to question what you're doing and why you're doing it, because it's really not anything that they really have the right to question. This is about living like as your authentic self and doing what your authentic self wants to do in this. And so sometimes even, Gemini, when change comes through in our life where we didn't initiate that change, it's just something in our external environment changes. It's okay to embrace that, even though we don't know what the outcome is going to be. So you have the water element, and it's just the having a sixth sense. It's really trusting what you feel inside. It's an alignment of how you feel about something, and your intuitive senses coming through, and your higher self really wants you to trust your intuitive senses right now. So there is big change coming through, and it might be change that you are trying to initiate, or it might be change coming through in your life that's external, and it's going to cause you to take a big leap, even a leap of faith. So Gemini, that's the first message I have here. The second message I have here is about forgiveness. You know, there's something to be said about forgiving, because real true strength is doing things out of love and compassion, and it takes more quite often to forgive than it does to live in resentment, but the effort to forgive is very momentary. The effort put into resentment is lifelong, and so the energy spent on resentment is something that'll continue to deplete for the long term. The energy put into forgiveness, though it takes a little bit of courage, that forgiveness is not just about forgiving somebody's transgressions, but it's also about releasing ourselves karmically from a situation. And so your future self wants you to forgive. If there's anything that you've been holding on to, any resistance, any resentment, it's giving you resistance in your life, your future self wants you to know that it's okay to trust and to forgive again. It's okay to release and let go, because it's a necessary part of moving forward in life, and there are lessons to be learned in the act of forgiveness. So Gemini, there's also this feeling of peace and resurrection coming through with this forgiveness. It's being pulled out of a very heavy, suffocating energy with this resentment. And this is coming through also with the Dove card. The Dove is about peace, reassurance, resolution. But there's like this resurrecting quality to that. It's because when we get out of that resentment, it's almost like everything is new, and we feel so much lighter. We feel like we haven't been living for such a long time because we've been so burdened with resentment. This says, peace rises gently from within my heart. My path is blessed with grace. Okay, so I'll read the affirmation here, and we'll move on to the tarot cards, Gemini. All right. Hand your worries to the divine feminine. Trust that she knows how to create solutions without force or aggression. You have the ability to settle your mind by turning into your heart and letting go. Don't wait for things to be in order before you feel at peace. Give yourself to peace and trust in your heart right now. Even the most daunting problems can be resolved more gracefully than you realize. Letting go will bring resolution more quickly and graciously. The divine feminine is reassuring you that all is well. So yes, so those are the two main messages I'm getting with this, is like the embracing change. Big change in your life, and not to be afraid or worried about what people think. And this peace and forgiveness coming through, this peace is coming out of the act of forgiveness. In that, Gemini, you have the Sun here showing up, the Sun card, and you have the Three of Wands. So you have a message, the Knight of Wands and the Six of Wands. You have the message of accomplishment coming through. So Gemini, this change in the wind is going to bring you a sense of accomplishment, something very far off. With the Three of Wands here, was very far off, even though it was a part of your path and a part of your future. It's now becoming closer and closer to being a part of your present everyday life. So there is a manifestation with the Sun becoming a full circle, Gemini. So you have prayers that are being answered. You have manifestations that are coming through for you. So a future promise that had been out there so far into the future, something that you've thought about, something that you've hoped for and dreamed for, is now actually much closer than it ever has been to you at this time in your life. And this really is this change in the wind. Is really what that is coming through, saying it's time for this change to come through in your life, and it's time for you to take your next step. You have to take your next step with the Knight of Wands. This is going to be all about the very beginning anyway, about a race of endurance. Okay, Gemini? And so this race of endurance is ultimately bringing you to a feeling of accomplishment. There's some recognition in this with the Six of Wands. It's like there's a recognition because people may be wondering what you're doing, why you're making big changes, or what is going on, and maybe they don't have all the information, and they're just kind of looking at you. Maybe even some people are judgmental, Gemini. So again, this is like another message from yourself coming through, that let people judge. You don't have to make excuses for yourself, because they're going to see ultimately that what you did led to a very successful accomplishment in your life. But it's going to require some endurance and some strength, but you're going to move forward very gracefully. And you're going to have some help along the way too in this. But something in the future that always seems so far off is now right on your doorstep. It's much closer than it has ever been in your life. Now it's at your doorstep. It's ready to just manifest. So the energy of the sun coming through, this is that empowerment, the spirit of the sun. It's about giving life and vitality to things in your environment. It's about illumination and seeing everything clearly. It's about feeling lighter. It's about feeling safe and secure. So this journey, this change that you're going on, is a journey of protection. Okay, Gemini, so you have this accomplishment that you're working toward, and it's going to be one of those accomplishments in your life where you get some recognition. Now, Gemini, it doesn't necessarily mean accomplishment and recognition to the extent that it's for the world to see, but your world is big enough for people to see the accomplishments and the work that you have put to bring fruit in your life, about taking change, trusting the journey, having faith, taking a leap of faith, and actually producing something very, very good for yourself out of it. And it's this recognition coming through for you, Gemini. So this is your message from your future self, Gemini. And if this spoke to you, your current circumstances, you'll know it. Just let me know down below. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks.